welcome to episode 260 of Magic the Amateuring.
That's right. You're listening or watching to a podcast / videocast. That is for people who are new to the game of Magic, returning to the game of Magic, who want to get better, or just want to have a real fun time.
Yeah, this podcast is hosted by two people, one of them being me,
Yes.
Maria.
And one of them being me, Megan.
And a third of them being Ghost Host.
That's right. What's that, Ghost Host?
Ghost Host.
Ugh, honestly, I can't believe with that dirty mouth we let him on the show sometimes.
FCC throwing up flags left and right.
That's why Ghost Host can't do radio.
Oh no. Podcasts only for Ghost Host.
Too many fines.
Certainly not on any of the major networks.
No.
He used all 7 words you can't say on TV in that one joke. It was incredible.
Don't say them. Never mind. Scratch the question I was about to ask. I was about to ask, what are the 7 words that you can't say on television? But do you know what? We're not.
You know what? To be honest with you, I don't even know if it's 7. I kind of pulled that number out of nowhere.
Google them.
Yeah. Just Google them for yourself if you want to know. I'm sure they've changed by now, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Like, they probably had to add some.
They had to add some. They had to take some away because shows are like...
I was going to say, take some away. But can you... Okay, you're right. One, I think that's like the restrictions have gotten more lax or shows have pushed the envelope.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was thinking of a word that used to mean something bad, but then doesn't anymore.
Like what?
That's the point. Is like, can you think of a word
that used to be bad?
but isn't anymore?
Probably.
If you can think of a word like that, tweet at us at MTAcast with the hashtag swear not swear.
You know, like, you scurvy cur.
How bad did that used to?
I don't know.
Are you telling me scurvy cur used to be like just like the worst swear you could throw down?
Certainly on a pirate ship, which is in flavor for this episode.
That's right.
Because we're talking about Rivals of Ixalan.
We sure are. We're going to tell you all about our time at the pre-release.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, we're going to have a For the Noobs on building sealed, in case you're like, man, I wasn't sure about the pre-release because I don't know how to build a sealed deck. Hey, we got some tips for you.
Maybe you're going to GP Indianapolis and playing some Team Limited this coming weekend and you want some tips on how to build with your friends.
Awesome.
Maybe you're just playing online or building some sealed casual at the kitchen table. We've got tips for you. Plus, major announcement.
Hot news alert. I knew that was coming.
It always comes.
I could have predicted it.
Just like I'm going to predict the next sentence you say is going to be an old-timey newscaster voice.
Now, let me tell you, there's tons of news to be had around here.
Nailed it. Yeah, we've had some major shakeups in Standard as some bands hitting the table straight from Wizards of the Coast.
My. Plus, a flavor text theater.
Yeah, movie pitches, like how we like to kick off a block, and that's how we're kicking off Rivals of Ixalan. So, you know, if you're working for Paramount, 20th Century Fox, some kind of smaller art house studio, tune up your ears.
You know, that small art house studio, 20th Century Fox.
No, I want to start a studio called Small Art House Studio.
Oh, yeah.
And that's... We just tell it like it is at Small Art House Studio. We're not interested in your next Avengers movie.
No.
We want the movie about the flower that comes to life but has a disease.
Oh, not watching this. Nope. I'm sorry.
I mean, you and most people.
Yeah.
Small Art House films.
But before we get started, we have some people to thank. The first people, the foremost people, the tip-top people that we want to thank are you, the patrons of this show. Thank you so much. If you are a patron over at patreon.com/MTAcast, whether you're pledging as little as $1 an episode, we don't care. We love it.
Yeah.
You're amazing. We love you. You're great.
Patreon is an exceptional service that allows us to kind of do this as our living. This is where we get survival through your money, which grants us life force to be able to bring the show to you every single week.
That's right. It's one of those real situations that you see kind of like in a film that's set in space. And then they have to black market trade for whatever keeps people alive in space.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's exactly like that.
You are
because we're
spice.
in space.
We're in space and we need critical the oxygen supplies are low.
That is right.
Anyway, patreon.com/MTAcast is the place to go to join our family and help support the show and keep it on the air. As we said, changes coming up at the beginning of next month, end of this month. So keep your eyes peeled for that as well. And a big thank you.
At the beginning of next month / end of this month. Don't go, if you try and go swap on Patreon right now to a monthly setup, it won't be there because we haven't set it up yet. That'll be at the end of this month. At the end
of the month. Thank you as well to Card Kingdom. CardKingdom.com/MTAcast is a link to put into your browser window or into the tiny mini browser window on your phone if you want to go buy some cards, perhaps a box of Rivals of Ixalan to draft with your friends, like we're going to be doing this week. So get over there. It's the best place to buy your cards.
Best draft.
Best place to buy your Magic paraphernalia. Best place to be like, hey, could I have a token in my order? Custom token. They're so cool. They'll do it for you. They'll also put in a Magic the Amateuring sticker, like I have right here, in your order if you ask them. CardKingdom.com/MTAcast.
Pre-release time. Maria.
Oh, yeah.
How'd it go?
Well, we headed down to Rivals of Ixalan pre-release at Level Up Games in South St. Paul here in MN. We had a lot of people turning out for that pre-release.
Tons.
It was wonderful to see so many different kinds of people too enjoying Rivals of Ixalan for the first time.
It was great. So party city.
Yeah, it was
Pizza City.
Pizza City. We got free pizza.
Yeah, Pirate City.
Pirate City. Somebody had a pirate hat. There's somebody there dressed in a Vikings outfit giving us live updates from the game.
Yes. There was a football game or some such.
Or whatever going on. And all of this, by the way, will appear in our pre-release vlog, which will be up on YouTube. Thinking tomorrow. So if you're listening to this on Tuesday, go check it out. YouTube.com/MTAcast for our vlog of all the action. But cutting down to the chase.
Yeah.
Overall, Megan, how did you find the format?
Quick.
Yeah, agree.
Snippety snappity. Get in there with your yippity yappity. Your yippity yappity being creatures.
Yeah.
I found that the best thing, like my best games, were just when I curved out. If I went 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, and then maybe like another 2-drop and another 3-drop or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I won.
Absolutely.
Or if you just went, you have to have like, it's just like creature, interaction, do something every turn.
I was going to say that I felt bad if I didn't play a creature, get this, on turn 1.
Whoa.
That's what my deck wanted to do.
Yeah. You had 3 1-drops.
I had 3 1-drops, Unblockable Merfolk, Doodly.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. But it, gotta learn that in a couple days here. But if I didn't play my 1-drop, I was like, oh, I'm behind? That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now Ixalan was fast.
Yes.
Already.
Yeah. And this, I feel like the Ixalan draft format was especially fast, but the sealed format could have like some could vary a little bit. And this is just like, nope. Hit the ground running and don't stop running. It's running from beginning to end. I
opened the 9-drop Naya Dinosaur, which is just a supreme bomb. Of course, it's 9 mana. And I had some lands and various other cards that kind of would help me fix my mana, so potentially I could play this card. I had some cards that went with it, that it worked. And I just straight up did not build that deck.
Yeah.
Instead, what I built was a blue-green Merfolk, highly aggressive deck that looked like a draft deck. Yeah. And do I ever do that in Sealed? I try not to, because Sealed is notably a slower format. We're going to talk about that when we talk about building in Sealed. But I just didn't, and it was the right move.
Yeah,
like absolutely. It was insane.
I felt like I ended up just going like green, white, and I just had tons of removal, and then just like a bunch of 2-drops and 3-drops. And when I built it, I was like, like my 5-drops, I have 2 5-drops and they're both really good. But do I have like too many 2s and 3s? Like I'm prioritizing this curve too much. And it's like, no, it turned out great, because I beat all of the people who had a curve that was too high and who weren't playing a bunch of 2 and 3-drops.
Right.
I just like completely smushed them. They had no time.
Smoosh.
Not only did I completely smush them, but there never felt like a point when I was losing the games.
No. And anybody who sat back and didn't do anything was dead.
So quick.
So fast.
Yeah.
So I think that's the takeaway. And that's what we've been hearing all over, by the way.
There was even a point at which I had all of this removal. Like I had 2 Luminous Bonds and 2 Divine Verdict.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, that's enough. That's a lot. That's 4 pieces of good removal. And then I ended up eventually putting in a Slash of Talons from my board, because I was like, oh, this seems like the weakest of them.
Yeah.
It only does 2 damage. but it was just so important to have something so cheap.
Yeah.
And so easy that could maybe help you cast multiple spells in a turn. It's so good.
I actually drafted today on Magic Online. The set's already draftable. And I drafted, basically I tried to do what I did in Sealed, which is build a highly aggressive blue-green merfolk deck. Somebody played Dual Shot against me.
Woof.
Blowout City.
Oh my
Now
goodness.
that card is normally a sideboard card. They just main decking it. And I think that's right.
Yeah.
But for what's going on right now.
Ouch.
There's a lot of 1 toughness creatures out there.
Yeah.
But like we said, it is about, this format's about attacking. I think blocking seems pretty bad, especially since a lot of the creatures give you bonuses for attacking. They're like, when this attacks, it gets +1/+0. When this attacks, it has flying. You can pay 2 in a red to give the thing +2/+0. It has trample. Whatever. So like, freaking swing for the fences.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been saying, oh, is this as fast as Zendikar was back in the day? Or what was it, Gate Crash back in our day? Garkrish. Garkrish.
Wow.
Notable.
I don't even know what happened.
Oh, but this reminds me, by the way. So I was recently flying home from somewhere and listening to my podcasts, and I was kind of speeding through them. You can put them on 1.5 speed or whatever. And I'm like, wonder what this sounds like on half speed. It is so funny. I was sitting there just laughing to myself. I don't know what the people on the plane thought, but listening to you in slow motion sounded just like that. It was like we have been drinking for hours and then we recorded this podcast. Highly recommended, everybody.
My God.
It is ridiculous to listen to us on half speed. So I played a Rivals of Ixalan Prerelease.
All right. Oh my God. Gatecrash. Yeah, Gatecrash was really quick.
Yeah. Reminds me of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, yeah. And I felt like, I particularly liked, there's the 2 and a white enchantment aura that gives a creature +1/+1 and lifelink. And then you make also a 1/1 vampire.
Yeah.
So good.
It is so good.
Because I feel like it's just a race.
Yep.
This format is just a race all the time.
Sprint.
Yeah, and that is just like, you slap that on me and it's like, well, screw your race, man. Like, I'm winning this.
That was the only card, basically, that I feared all pre-release was that card.
So good.
Thankfully, there's some good bounce in this format. There's more bounce now. I mean, we kind of said, like, Ixalan had the aura strategy. You could put them on your Blight Keepers and swing in, swashbuckling, Mark of the Vampire, etc.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just straight up got there because removal was expensive, like Contract Killing, or there just wasn't enough bounce. Well, now there's more bounce in the format, but there are also more cool auras like that one that you mentioned. I played, it's not Insatiable Curiosity, something, Obsession, Curious Obsession. Yeah, I think that's it. That's a single blue mana gets +1/+1, and when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of like Curiosity on steroids. And that card's really fun. Put that on my unblockable merfolk friend and drew a lot of cards.
Real nice.
So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, are we just going to continue to sprint for the finish line, or is somebody going to figure out a way to slow this puppy down?
I have no idea right now.
Oof.
Like, I guess maybe if you do it, it's with vampires. Like, that's got to be the only way that you could, right? Because you just make, like, a bunch of, like, little, lifelinky blockers or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know. Now.
Red-Green Dinosaurs in Ixalan was kind of, nobody liked that deck.
Yeah.
And so I hope that deck can kind of make its footprint, its big dino footprint now, with Enrage.
And then later on we can have a little puddle in the footprint.
Yeah, and then we can see the ripples when the dinosaurs walk by. I played versus 2 Enrage decks today, so I think like Enrage is now something that is way more viable than it was in Ixalan. It wasn't really supported. So that's cool.
Yeah.
There's a 2/2 where when it gets dealt damage, it deals 5 damage to somebody's creature. I like that card. It's really good. Basically, unblockable. And then somebody put a Tillinolly's crown on it, which deals the damage when it gets crowned up. And it was just like, oh, shoot down your creature for 5. This thing's still alive, by the way, and huge and trampling. So,
ouch.
I think
awesome.
that's cool.
That's real nice.
But yeah, did you have any cards that you were like, I'm not gonna play this? Warning sign.
Honestly, I'm trying to think.
Big.
Yeah, anything super big. But other than that, not really.
Yeah, I agree.
I felt like in general, like my card pool was pretty good. Like I had some sweet removal in black, but I just couldn't play it because I had just no good creatures in it.
Right.
So, yeah, not off the top of my head. Go to town with 2/1 flyers for 2.
Oh, absolutely.
That's kind of where it's at, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Kite Sail Corsair, 2/1.
What a card. Real
Flying.
good.
And that little merfolk that flies at 2/1 is still good.
Shaper's Apprentice.
Yeah, both of them.
Nice.
They're just friends. I had a few of them out, and my opponent was like, they're holding hands flying through the sky.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
That's what it looks like in the little art.
Whee! The 2/1 for 2, I want to say glint something or other. It's green.
Oh, yeah. The 2/1 that can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less.
Yeah.
I was playing 2 of those. That card was awesome. Against most of my opponents, it was basically
it's just
unblockable.
It's just unblockable.
Like for at least for enough turns where it's so meaningful.
Right.
So good. The card's great.
Especially if people get the memo and start playing aggressive decks.
Yeah.
Unblockable, my friend.
So good.
Yeah, and a lot of times a 1/1 for 1 is something that is not super playable in a format, but like I said, my unblockable 1/1 got in there with Merfolk, but counters on stuff. Jade Bearer, boop, gives it a +1/+1 counter. New Horizons, I played 2 of those just to put +1/+1 counters on my smaller creatures.
Yeah.
Not for mana fixing whatsoever.
Nice.
Turned out okay. Both me and Megan ended up 3/1 at this pre-release, so yeah, I think we had the right read going in.
For sure.
And it'll be interesting to see where Rivals goes moving forward. If you have any cool stories or anything like that, tweet them at us at MTAcast because we want to hear how the pre-release went for you, especially if you built a slow deck and you won.
We especially want to hear
I
that.
wanna know.
But any of your stories.
Yeah, for sure.
We're here for them.
It's time for the noobs.
Hey, have you ever looked at a sealed pool and thought, where do I even begin?
Yes.
And then you just didn't?
And then you packed up your cards and walked out because
then you
just
laughed.
gave up.
I hope not that.
Yeah.
But if you've ever felt a little bit lost, we're here to give you a little bit of guidance, a compass, a roadmap, the topographical, chart
Okay. Sure.
of what to do.
Yeah.
Maybe not as detailed as a topographical chart.
Just
You
like
need
a map with roads but no cities.
Exactly. This is I-35. Who knows what it goes to?
Good luck. But
If
yeah,
you get there, it's up to you.
we can't give you every information because, sealed is going to change.
And it's always part of a mystery of life.
It is a mystery. One of those great mysteries of life. Why are we here? How do you play sealed to the top of your ability? Nobody quite knows, but we keep trying.
Yeah, we do.
We keep trying to put together the piece of the puzzle.
So Maria.
Yes.
I've cracked open a brand new sealed pool.
Yeah.
In a format where maybe I'm familiar with the cards, but I don't know every single one necessarily.
Yep.
What do I do first?
Okay. First things first.
Ooh.
This is what a lot of people do is kind of take their cards and separate them out by color.
Yeah,
Separate them out
absolutely.
by color. It just makes it a little easier for you to process everything that's going on because that is a lot of information
It really is.
being thrown at your face.
Yeah.
Pretty much right out of the gate.
And so once you've sorted your cards by color,
Yep.
I like to go through and maybe as you're cracking your packs, you're taking note of what are your rares or your really good uncommons.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, holy cow, this is so good.
Yeah.
So you'll already have that note in the back of your mind.
Sure.
But you've sorted them. And then I like to go through each color. I'll pick up the pile of white cards and I'll look at it and be I'll go through and I'll pick out what's strong.
Yeah.
Whether it's really good creatures, they have to be very, very good creatures for me to pull them out and note them. Or it's really good removal.
Right.
And sort of looking at okay, what is this color's overall strength? And what would its overall kind of plan be?
I think one way to think about this when you're like, what counts as a really good creature? What counts as really good removal is this a reason for me to play this color? And so kind of pulling those cards, if they meet that criteria, to the front of your pack or to the front of your pile, or even separating them out and placing them above that color can kind of give you a quick glance as to, there are 6 cards that make me want to play white.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good reason. Whereas there's only 2 cards that make me want to play blue. And so that might be a weaker choice for one of my colors.
So maybe you've gone through all of your colors at this point. You've done this for all of them. And you've noticed like, hey, one color is very strong. Whether it's because it has just like maybe a couple of pieces of unconditional removal. Maybe you have a bomb creature in there. And you're like, hey, I really feel like this has very strong potential. Then you're going to take that color out and you're going to lay it out on the table by converted mana cost. And usually I separate my creatures and my spells at that point, like creatures along the top, spells along the bottom, each in their row for their converted mana cost. And then I look at like, okay, what is its strength and what is its weakness?
Right.
Especially looking at weaknesses in terms of curve. It's like, hey, is this really short on creatures? Is it really short on like 2 drops and 3 drops, like some early stability? Is it really short on removal? Is it really short on just powerful late game spells? What is it?
What do I need to shore up? And that is where your second color comes in and helps out your first color and says, hey, do you need more creatures? Just kind of beefing out the middle and the beginning of your curve? Mm-hmm. I've got you. How about you need what?
You want to try my new workout plan?
Beefing out your middle?
It's called beef out your middle.
Hey, I need to beef out my middle big time.
Beef out your middle.
I really don't know what that means.
I think it's just another way of saying like get a 6-pack.
Beef out your middle with Brad. Mondays through Thursdays. Brad will beef you out big time.
Beef out your middle. Anyways, you were saying?
Eat 10 eggs and then get beefed out. I'm going to lift weights with my abs. My abs have hands. By the end of this, your abs will have hands. Anyway, so beef out your middle.
This has all become the grossest ad that I've ever heard.
Or give yourself bombs that you need to win the game. Mm-hmm. Or give yourself good removal. When you're building sealed, remember that it's even more important in most formats. Disclaimer, because we just talked about how fast Rivals of Ixalan is. Mm-hmm. Bombs are super important. Removal is super important to deal with the bombs that your opponents open. Mm-hmm. And usually sealed is a slower format, so you can lean more heavily on the end of your curve than on the front. But I don't think Rivals is that way. But just generally, that's usually the case.
Yeah. Absolutely. You might also start by, sometimes you might have 2 colors that really stand out and you'll start by laying those out. And sometimes it's as easy as being like, yep,
that works.
These are both great. But I super recommend trying at least a couple of different color combinations because I know I rarely ever end up settling on exactly the color combination that I started with.
Yeah, you never know until you lay it out and take a good look at it. It's like you think about that outfit that you've picked out for the big dance, and then you lay it out on your bed and you're like, wow, I did not consider that a red hat does not go with my green and purple stripe. Now that works.
I think if you're already wearing a green and purple striped dress, like a red hat is not going to mess you up anymore.
It's just going to look like it all goes together.
Yeah, at that point you're wearing enough colors that it's just like, sure, anything.
Leopard print plus a zebra hoodie.
That works.
I don't know.
Works.
You can pull it off. Anyway,
we're
you
also going to start a style
saying.
show where we just try and take bad ideas and make them good.
Make them work. Actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Somebody send us in your worst piece of clothes that you think could never be cool.
So that being said, I feel like you're going to have a gut instinct when you open your packs and when you sort. And a lot of times I've found that my gut instinct is correct about at least one of the colors.
Yeah.
Like I probably wasn't right about both of them, but I'm usually right about one of them. Yeah. So definitely listen to whatever your beefed up abs. Your beefed up middle is telling you.
Yeah, I think because you've got a lot of good instincts living down there.
Absolutely.
Along with the healthy gut bacteria.
Yeah. Where do your instincts live? In your stomach.
In your tum-tum.
Which is why if you ever have the stomach flu, you need to watch out for the next few days. You're not going to have an instinct.
Yeah, your instincts will be totally
exactly, because you're going to have puked them. And you just need time to cultivate some new ones.
You're going to have puked them. Yeah. But yeah, you're going to want to play 2 colors in sealed, just general overall. Sometimes if you can make your mana base work with the colors that you've opened, perhaps you have some dual lands, perhaps you have some lands that let you search or some artifacts that you can crack and search to help you fix your mana a little bit better. But it's just generally the same as in draft. You probably want to lean towards 2 colors. And yeah, that's the best advice I can give. Sometimes you look down at your sealed pool, you'll arrange it a multitude of ways, and you can see the clock ticking down, and you're just like, oh man, I have no idea what to do. That's okay, because that happens to everybody. We always get those pools that are a little bit more difficult to build than others, and that's kind of just the bitter pill we have to swallow in the world that's sealed, because next time you might get a great pool.
Absolutely.
But yeah, sealed's a lot of fun, man. I love it. Looking forward to Indianapolis coming up this next weekend. Team sealed. If you're on a team, pick a team captain who's there to make the final decision. I think that's a good bit of advice. And
it's important to have someone who will make you all stop hemming and hawing.
Yeah, about the decision.
Because otherwise you can go on for forever.
For forever, basically. That's some advice from Hallie Santo.
What do you think is the most amount of time a group of 3 people would spend building a team sealed pool?
Are we talking about like pros, especially the pros that like to just go on forever about certain cards and stuff?
I'm talking about like 3 people who are all have very strong opinions.
Before they settled on something, if they had no time restriction.
I'm talking about you have 3 people, they have no time restriction, a classic sealed build. At what point will they each sit down and register their 40 card decks?
Are we keeping food from them?
No, there's like no restriction on how long.
Wow. Okay.
Do you know, actually, okay, we'll say they get water and bathroom breaks, but no food. Yeah.
Okay, I love that because, oops, I unplugged my headphones. I'm going to say like they could go a day.
That's what I think. I think it's in the magnitude of, God, I want to say my lowest guess that I would ever make on it would be like 4 hours.
Oh yeah, low end.
Yeah, is 4 hours. And then like the top end is like 8.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see it happening. I could see a crowd forming and watching this go down. I could see them growing a beard if they're a fast beard grower in this period of time. But yeah, if you want more tips on Team Sealed, Hallie Santo, head over to cardkingdom.com/MTAcast. Wrote an article about prepping for Team Sealed, so you can check it out there on their blog and learn more about how to prep if you're playing with your friends. But there you go! Team Sealed / normal sealed primer. All right, old-timey newscaster, hit us with some news.
Well, if you were to take a look at today's front page, you would see written right there in black ink on that newspaper that there have been bans. Bans, I say! Bans, you ask? Bans, I say! Extra, extra, read all about these bans, because not only 1 card, not only 2 cards, not only 3 cards, but 4 whole cards!
I would love that headline to say bans, I say. Was what it says up top. Bans, I say!
The Daily MtG article is called Bans, I say.
Bans, I say! And it's like the old-timey newscaster's face like, hey! Up there with the pictures of the ban cards.
Yeah.
Hey, you out there who know Photoshop, you know what to do. Anyway, yeah, we had some...
All in grayscale, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is old-timey newscaster.
Old-timey? I don't know what printed colors look like.
No!
You're telling me photographs aren't just paintings?
You know, back in time, everything was black and white, not just photos. That's why it's all black and white. There's no proof that color existed before the invention of color film. Just think about it. But yeah, we had some bans that happened. I woke up this morning and was like, boing! That was the sound of my eyes popping out of my head when I saw how many cards and what got banned from Standard.
So, tell us. You give us one.
Okay, number 1. This was the one that I was expecting, and quite frankly, the only one I was expecting.
I'll agree with that.
Which was Attune with Ether.
Yes. Get that sucker out of here.
Ban hammer.
Everyone's just like, oh, you banned like a one mana sorcery
that does kind of nothing,
but at the same time does everything.
Yeah,
it like fixes your colors. It like makes 2/3 of a thopter.
Yeah. It puts down the wings and the wheels.
Exactly. It's so good. It's such a toolbox card. But surprisingly, also out of Teamer Energy, they lost Rogue Refiner.
Yeah.
Which, do you know, I would just say, having played against that card, that thing's a freaking house.
It sure is. Do you want more energy? Here you go.
And it's like, and it's a 3/2, and you draw a card.
Ridiculous.
And we all know how important drawing cards are. That text is just so powerful.
Yeah.
Rogue Refiner. And then there were also there was another set of bans. So that was just obviously out of the Teamer Energy deck. So Teamer Energy, I think we can say is, you know, to some extent, kind of kaput.
So this is interesting. They're banning, the way they banned it is they didn't ban Long Tusk Cub. They didn't ban the Hydra.
That's true.
They didn't ban Whirl of Virtuoso.
There's still some very powerful cards.
So like they banned the things that enable those cards to be, quite frankly, pretty busted in that Teamer Energy deck. But they banned the enablers. They didn't ban the payoffs.
Yeah.
So it's like, how good does this deck remain? I think their goal was to keep it viable.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't know if it can survive through this.
I mean, I imagine that it will be there in some shape.
Probably the Scarab God. Oh gosh, it's
like
hard to say.
That version should. I mean, without Attune with Ether, I don't know that you can handle that kind of splash.
Yeah.
And especially also now that we're losing Rogue Refiner,
right?
Which is a big part of making those hubs, those Ether hubs, like so consistent. Right. So I don't know about that. But I do think you can still make it 3-color. You've still got like a very aggro bent to some of it. Like Greenbelt Rampager.
Yeah, you can put that in.
It's just like very solid. Long Tusk Cub. As long as you get a hit, like if you play that on 2 and hit them on 3, it's like that's still very powerful. If you went like Long Tusk into Whirler Virtuoso, it's like, yeah, you're still really getting there.
So yet to be seen.
Yeah.
But as Meghan said, Teamer Energy or / any kind of energy deck was not the only one to get hit.
No.
The other deck was kind of the scourge of the format along with energy was Ramunap Red.
Get out of here.
And Ramunap Red basically lost, I think, what makes it work, Ramunap Ruins.
I mean, yeah. That card, it's just what gives it so much reach.
Yeah.
You can just sack a bunch of lands. It's like, oh, did I almost get there, but not quite with these creatures?
Doesn't matter.
Sack some lands.
Yeah, and that's what everybody said makes the deck what it is, because there's been a lot of mono red decks in the past that, you know, played cheap creatures, had some burn spells, and that was what they did. But they didn't have that key piece of Ramunap Ruins that lets you win the game even when you had 0.0 else going on.
Yeah. It was just...
made it busted.
What a card. It was just like one of the most frustrating... I can't say that I'm sad to see it go.
Oh,
I know there's tons
not.
of red players who are just like, red is great again. It's so wonderful. But it was just such a frustrating card.
Yeah.
Because part of like the way you beat red is you have to stabilize against them.
Right.
And it just made it impossible. You would do all this work. And against any other aggressive deck, it's like, I would have gotten there. I would have made it. And this time, like, no.
Yeah, I think it's just
hard
made it too good. You've got to have some drawback to a deck, and it was kind of like that deck.
It kind of felt like taking away a drawback. Yeah. Absolutely.
So the other ban for Ramunap Red is Rampaging Ferocidon.
Yeah.
Never saw that one.
Like, that was, I think when I was looking at the list, it's like, Attune with Ether, check, knew it was coming. Rogue Refiner, it's like, I get it.
Okay.
Very good card. Like, kind of does similar things. Ramunap Ruins, yeah.
Yeah, goodbye.
Rampaging Ferocidon is like, what
did I do? I'm a 3/3 for 3. You can still kill me.
Excuse me? What? Sorry? What? It was just it was so surprising. It was, I looked at it, I was like, I felt like looking at it, I was like, I barely knew you.
Yeah, we barely had time together.
I had to like click
Ferocidon
on it just to make sure that it was the card that I was thinking of. Just be like, is this really it?
Yeah.
I mean, and it sure is.
So
my guess on that is that they have their big new playtesting group.
Yeah.
That's been happening. And my guess is that they were playing some of these decks and they were just like, maybe it's still too good.
Too oppressive.
Yeah.
It's interesting. They showed some of the Magic Online data of these two decks and were like, hey, by the way, Teamer wins plus 50% of all of its matchups in game 1, 2, and 3. And this is
so absurd.
Too good. It's been too good for too long. And they said the same thing about red based off of that data. But it is super controversial, these bans. So we have a longer rotation set now.
I feel like everyone's like, well, goodbye, Attune with Ether.
Good riddance. This is what I mean. So I asked everybody out there on Twitter, how do you feel about this? These are the 2 responses we got. Number 1, Goodbye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah.
I don't care. I played enough Teamer. I've seen enough of it. Barf, barf. Don't ever want to see it again. Rammy Nut Bread, get out of here. Nobody cares. That was response number 1.
Yeah.
Response number 2 was, this doesn't make me want to play Standard because I'm worried my deck is going to get banned by Wizards, who is banning more aggressively. So they said, you know, like, prior to this, there have been, 2 bans in 10 years or whatever it is. And now we've had, 10 bans in the past, whatever. So, like, I understand that. I understand being worried that what you play in Standard is going to be gone, and then what are you going to do? However, hopefully, none of these cards were expensive cards that were banned.
I feel like at this point, these decks have been around for a really long time. If you were playing these, like, I think that I think you got your value out of it.
Yeah.
Like, if you've been playing Teamer since Teamer became popular, you've had a year-ish.
Yeah.
And same for Rammy Nut Bread. Like, you've had a lot of time playing that. You've hopefully had a lot of events. Like, and it is, because it's a longer rotation cycle, the bans feel a little bit more like mimicking the shorter cycle.
Sure.
And so it's like, I don't know that it's necessarily a ton different, which is basically my way of saying, like, if you want to play Standard, don't let this stop you. Like, get out there and play it. You're still going to get so much out of whatever deck you choose to pick and learn. It's still going to be such a wonderful learning process. You're still going to have so much fun doing it. If you enjoy Standard, like, this shouldn't stop you.
That's kind of, in a way, this is kind of the poison that you drink with Standard. Like, it's going to rotate out.
Yeah.
It's going to say goodbye. If you want something more secure, Modern is a good format, or Limited is a fine format as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, that's kind of the dice we're rolling when we play this format, and giving us a longer rotation period. They did say they were going to ban more aggressively, and here you go.
These decks, like we've been talking about, these decks are still here.
Yeah.
Like, you've still got, like, Carrie Zev is still a heck of a card. Like, still going, like, Bomat Courier into Carrie Zev, into Oncrop Crasher, into Hazaret is still just, like, that's a beating. And, like, maybe it's going to be a little bit harder, but that deck is still going to be around. Teamer is still going to be around in some shape or form. These decks will survive. You'll still be able to play it.
Scarab God's still around BTW.
Yeah, it is.
So I think
For
a lot
now.
of... yeah, control players are happy about that. I'm happy because I want to see some sweet tribal decks come to the forefront. I want to see Merfolk. I want to see vampires. Hopefully a Dino deck. We'll see if we get it. I think that'd be really cool.
Do you know what? We've made wild predictions in the past.
Yeah, we have.
Let's
Do you have one right now?
No, I was going to say, let's put on our ban hats and make some ban predictions.
What does your ban hat look like?
Here's my ban prediction: is Scarab God goes before it rotates.
Oh, yeah. I think that's
mine.
That is a very safe assumption.
Let's pick another rando, though.
Okay.
Like, I'm kind of feeling, what about Kumena? The one blue-green.
Oh,
and then, like, you can tap a Merfolk to make it
and
unblockable.
Then draw some cards.
And, like, tap 3 to draw a card and tap 5 to put a counter on all your Merfolk.
I could see that.
That's gonna be my completely random guess.
What's getting hit next? You know, a lot.
I'm not saying next. I'm just saying before its time is up.
Before its time. Okay.
That feels like a bad guess, but you know what? I'm getting.
I don't know.
Getting crazy.
I'm like struggling here at what could be so busted. I have a feeling it's in Merfolk though.
That's why I picked that.
I don't think it's in vampires.
Yeah.
Man, I don't think we're gonna be like ban Approach of the Second Sun.
Yeah, that would be surprising.
But, you know, Wizards does have that new big playtest group, and we can hope that over time, as they're kind of adjusting to those roles and kind of refiguring how things work out over there in R&D, that this will have to happen less. I mean, we know that
I think so.
That it's kind of part of the equation when you have a long period of time in Standard, but hopefully it can be less of the equation moving forward. Gosh, I don't know. I can't think of one. I'm going to say a Merfolk card. What a cop-out. But yeah, so get out there. It's like a brewer's paradise right now. You know, like as soon as Friday hits...
We're spending most our lives living in a brewer's paradise.
And bring your tribal deck to FNM or something. I mean, like, I'm excited for Standard now. I haven't said that in a while. So that's something.
Nice. We know you're going to get those vamp boys.
Yeah, those vampy boys.
Before we continue any further, we gotta stop and thank Ultra Pro, our brand new member of the MTA family.
Yes, ultrapro.com is the place to go for all of your magic paraphernalia needs. Just this pre-release, someone was talking to me about their Earl of Squirrel playmat and how much they loved it. And if you wanna, I mean, what?
I said, what a beauty.
Oh, it's such a beauty. If you want to live the life of the Earl of Squirrel, you can with Ultra Pro. That's who makes that beautiful playmat. There's also Earl of Squirrel sleeves that I saw at the store, and I just looked at them and smiled once again because they're so great. They just make, they're the company that makes the magic products that you want to use. I use my Eclipse sleeves at the pre-release.
Nice.
Guess what, Megan?
What?
Guess what they shuffled like?
Butter.
They sure did. And it was not the first time I used them either. It was like the fourth time or something like that.
Like buttered silk.
They still shuffled like buttered silk.
Do you think buttered silk... Anyways, no.
Is a good cake?
Ooh, that sounds good.
Like chocolate silk, except buttered silk.
Ooh. Okay.
But I don't know what the silk is.
Me neither. Moving on.
Ultrapro.com. Head over there and thank them for sponsoring our show. And get yourself a brand new magic deck box because you know what? You're worth it.
I was about to say that. So we're going to crack open this pack with those little frilled dust spitter on it.
Yeah, crack it.
All right, here we go.
Flavor Text Theater presents movie pitches where we blindly draw cards from an Ixalan pack, or Rivals of Ixalan in this case, and make up movie pitches or TV show pitches based on
I
the
see
cards.
our flip card though
Ooh.
already, which is Path of Metal.
Cool.
Yeah. So I couldn't help but see that one.
Yeah, that one we don't know, but that's the rare that's going to be
Checklist card land.
going
No,
into
that's not land.
our pile of cards that we will send to a lucky patron at the end of the month. If you are signed up for Patreon for any length of time, you are eligible for these drawings, by the way.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, okay, I've got mine.
Okay, go for it.
So I want to say this is like a Disney Channel original movie. And it's like, you've heard what's going on Twitter. It's that everybody wants to eat Tide Pods.
Yeah.
And for some unknown
By the way,
reason.
don't do it. They're like super poisonous.
Do you want to eat
Super poisonous.
soap? Don't do it.
Okay,
Somebody did
yeah.
post a recipe, though, of how to make something that looks like a Tide Pod that you can eat.
That's amazing.
That's great. Anyway, so it's about a kid who believes in the internet too much, and they always like do the newest thing that they see on the internet, and it keeps landing them into a lot of trouble. And in one point, he eats a Tide Pod and like goes into like a Tide Pod coma, and he's like crashing in the OR, and all the doctors are there.
God.
But then it's like flash forward to his like fever coma dream while he's in this Tide Pod induced coma dream, and he learns the valuable lesson of not to trust everything you read on the internet. It's called Crashing Tide.
I mean,
Don't worry,
like
he lives. He lives.
Wow. Wow. All right, this is the story of a boxer who is a professional boxer, and he loves the sport. Except he gets into a fight. He's like in the boxing ring, in a match, and he ends up going blind in one eye from like a hit or too many hits, or something along those lines. And so he can't see out of one eye, and obviously it throws off his depth perception really badly. And so he is struggling to be a professional boxer. So he quits, and he's like, I'm not doing this. And he like throws in the towel and becomes a curmudgeonly guy.
Yeah.
But then he finds out that he let's see, I'm trying to think of the second half of the film. I got that far.
Okay.
He's blind in one eye.
Quit boxing.
Exactly. But he eventually finds his way back into the fighting ring by like getting these scrappy street brawls that go on. And it's called Dead-Eyed Brawler.
Oh, yeah. So he becomes a scrappy street fighter where depth perception is not as critical as in the boxing ring.
Yeah, or maybe it helps him. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll work that out in production. My movie is a Pixar animated short, and it's a bunch of cows that are sailing the high sea. And so there's cow captains, there's cow first mates, there's cow poop deck scrubbers, and the captain cow is really mean and won't let the cows eat any grass off of his special like grass area on the ship, and all the other cows are really hungry because there's obviously no grass at sea. And what are they supposed to do? Guess what? They mutiny. Anyway, didn't really know what else to do with that card. That one's for you, Craig Wesco.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mutiny.
Okay, so this one is a story set in not ancient, but like China a long time ago. Kind of in the story of, if you've ever read the novels of Grace Lin. If you haven't, I highly recommend them. They're really amazing. And they're all these like stories within stories. So this is set in long ago China, and there's the story of this artisan who used to be they used to carve jade, and they were like the most renowned and the most amazing. But then they disappeared. They don't know where they went, and their jade carvings were so amazing that they looked almost lifelike. So there would be they would craft whole entire towns that looked like real, but they were all crafted out of jade instead.
Wow.
And so someone he finds one of them and uses the clues in it to try and rediscover wherever this artist went, this jade carver. It's called Jadecraft Artisan.
That's cool. You can see some cool carved jade at your local art museum, including the MIA. They have a very nice exhibit.
That's very true.
All right, this movie, it's a little weird. It's kind of in the vein of True Blood, I guess because it's set in New Orleans. Is that what I want to do with this? Anyway, the point is, it's about a cult, and there's a religious cult, and their deal is they can only be away from the hours of 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The rest of the time must be spent in service, like underground to the Dark Lord that they worship. But from those hours of 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., their job is to go out and evangelize about their religion. And they go and knock. So really their lives are terrible. I don't know why you want to join this religion, but it's called Dusk Legion Zealot.
All right. 6 to 8 p.m. That was my 2 hours, everybody. Yeah. And I'm done. Okay, so, Night at the Museum, the movie where I think Ben Stiller is a night guard at, a museum, and everything comes to life at night.
Yeah.
This is like that, except it's set way back in time. We'll just say like in King Arthur's court, and there's a knight, but a KNIGHT, like a knight of the round table. But every time he's around animals, they stampede. So they essentially are kind of coming to life also. It's called Knight of the Stampede.
Makes sense.
He uses that power to lead a Braveheart style revolution, but of animals.
Animal revolution.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
This is a movie that's kind of like, what was that movie, Greed is Good, in the 80s? What was it called? Was it just called Wall Street?
American Psycho?
Yeah, sure. That's kind of what I'm thinking of.
No, that can't be it. That's just...
But I know what you mean. It's that attitude.
Yeah.
Everyone has that attitude in the movie, and it's basically a hard look at society, right now, because what happens is all of the money, specifically the gold, like in Fort Knox and on buildings and statues, becomes poisonous. So anybody who touches any kind of like high dollar amount will get like enough poison that they will die.
Wow.
So money and gold and diamonds, all of that, poisonous, okay? And the only cure is to like live in a hut out in the woods and far away from money and society as you possibly can get, and try and make it that way. So all the poor people are totally fine and they're able to rise up, and all the rich people are running out to try and get rid of their earthly possessions and their money because it's now poisonous.
Wow.
It's called Golden Demise.
What a premise.
Yeah. Golden Demise.
So this is a nature documentary voiced by David Attenborough. It's 3 hours. It's all one camera on one woodland stream.
That's like in Norway or wherever they have slow TV, where it'll just be something like that for 24 hours. It'll just be
amazing.
A river.
I would watch it.
I think it's great, and I wish we would do it here because that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, this movie is a movie about a knight and his faithful squires. They go around the countryside doing their knightly duty and chivalrous things. And this knight is betrothed to a beautiful lady of the land and has her handkerchief and all of that. But the squire is in love with the knight and could never tell him, of course, until one day they find out that they have the same love for one another. Squire's devotion.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
I would watch that.
Yeah. So this is the story of a guy who he leaves his friends and he's just like, do you know what, you guys, I need to go find myself. I need to go on this journey. And so he leaves and they have no idea where he went. And he comes back like 3 years later. And they don't recognize him at first. They think that this stranger has just walked into their lives, like this guy who he's just like a terrible person, and is filthy and horrible to everyone. And then they realize that it's their friend that they used to know.
Whoa.
And they have to basically like help socially rehabilitate him because he's just become like a monster because he was just self-serving for such a long time, and has no moral compass anymore. And his name was Ray because this is the story of cleansing Ray.
Have you seen Cleansing Ray? Oh, it's got a lot of Oscar buzz.
Yeah.
All right, here's my last one. This one is set in medieval times as well, so we got a lot of those today.
Yeah, a lot of them.
And it's about a young boy whose family is pretty poor, and they don't have, a crest like a lot of families have because they, don't have the money and haven't bought one, and they're not, lords of the land or anything like that. But he's always dreamed of having one. So he interns, or whatever the term is back then, at a... what is it called? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now. Where you make crests, the art of crest making. And he starts designing one for his family. And he puts some cool beasts on it, and he puts a horn of plenty because his mom is a baker, and it's got like bread and fruit coming out of it and all these crazy kinds of animals. And what happens is, because he wants so much for his family and wants to be recognized as an important part of society, that imbues it with the magic, and the animals and the things on the crest are able to come to life and run to his side after he's created them. And they go on adventures and whatever through the land, stampeding a horn crest. There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
all right, those are our movies.
Ooh, look at this.
Yeah,
this arch.
There's also a foil arch of Orozca that's going
pretty
in
cool.
that drawing.
Yeah, so
nice.
Head over to patreon.com/MTAcast if you want to be entered before the end of the month. And if you are a movie studio or a small art house film company
called Small Art House Film Company,
you know what to do.
Hey everybody, that's our show.
We did it.
We really did.
They said we couldn't.
Before we check out of here, thank you one more time to all of our amazing patrons over on patreon.com/MTAcast, as well as to cardkingdom.com/MTAcast and Ultra Pro, which you can get at Card Kingdom.
Yeah, you can. It all goes together.
It all goes together.
You see, it's cyclical.
It all ghost together. Right Ghost Host?
Whoa! Cover your kids' ears.
Oh, boy.
Ghost host. Speaking like a sailor back there.
Someone needs some cleansing, Ray. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. We'll have our own intervention with Ghost host off the air. By the way, we're going to put a little nugget at the end of this episode after the closing music that came from when we recorded the show before we started recording, and it just kind of tickled our fancies. So I'm going to put it at the end as a special little Easter egg for you. And to thank you for listening all the way through to episode 260.
Wow.
Magic the Amateur, which is kind of unbelievable. We're going to start to think about another musical episode coming up here. 300's on the horizon. Whew, more Rivals of Ixalan in the future. So come be our friend on social media, Twitter at MTAcast, Facebook.com/MTAcast.
If you're a patron, hop in the Discord, send us some questions for that mailbag.
Our mailbag, thank you.
Or just message them to us. We'll answer.
We sure will. Back with more Ixalan fun times. This same bad time, same bad channel next week.
I mean, look at it.
Oh, yeah.
It just did this by itself.
That's all match. Mm-hmm. Wow.
I just washed it and then drove over here.
No way.
Yeah.
Good job.
I think because it's not so. I think it's because it's not so rough on my hair.
Yeah. Like this.
My hair used to be more like this when I didn't dye it so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think between dye and shampoo, it just
Yeah.
was so hard on it.
Now it's like the cool ocean water.
Whoosh.
Whoosh. Whoosh.
That's the sound the ocean makes.
Whoosh.
Also, sploosh.
Sploosh.
As we know. As we know.
Skadoosh. But not douche.
No, it does not make that noise.
Oh, sometimes it's too
Not
bad.
the sound the ocean makes.
I don't put the beginning on.
You could put it at the end.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
like
could.
A little outro.
Little special.
Yeah, exactly.
Good idea. I think
All
I
right.
will.